Now, in this program, any resemblance between the people you see on the screen and real living people is purely intentional. Because, in fact, they are real, and it's our pleasure to catch them in the act of being themselves.
Hey guys, Rogue Nation coming here to you today. We've got a video coming to us from Social Justice Water Pipe out of New Jersey, also known as Bongholio. And in this video, he absolutely embarrasses the town attorney because he knows the law better than the town attorney does. And this isn't just some obscure state law, this is the town ordinance dealing with the public meetings here that they're attending. So check it out, run by and sub them up. Sometimes YouTube unsubscribes you. Make sure you sub them up. Let them know the major sent you. And tell them thanks for standing up for our rights and thanks for recording it and bringing these interactions to us so that we can see how our public officials are acting. Alright? And remember, guys, we'll catch you on the next one because there's always going to be a next one.
If you could please just identify yourself for the record, that would be great. Thank you.
I'm not comfortable doing so for my safety reasons. So if I may just proceed, I would really appreciate that.
Unfortunately, you do have to identify yourself.
So are you going to bar me from my First Amendment right?
I did not say I'm going to bar you from your First
Amendment.
Amendment
Because I'm going to continue, and I just want to be respectful. So,
sir,
I
please just
have a couple
identify
of things
yourself.
that I'd like to talk about. It's going to be short. I have a 5-minute time limit. Okay,
Sir,
I have.
sir,
So
if you could please just identify yourself.
Just please, just stop interrupting me. Okay,
I just don't want to have to cut out your comments as a result of any type of legal public meetings.
I would agree
So
too.
I
You
don't
guys don't
wanna
want to
have
find
that.
out my name through another way, another avenue. That's why I'm trying to just make my statements, and I think it would be in the best interest of this council and the town to just let me do so.
At this point, I personally don't have an issue with it. You do know that you are on camera though, so that is identifying.
Absolutely. Of course,
Okay.
I'm aware.
Does anybody from the council have issue with this gentleman speaking at this point? And then we'll move forward if we need to regarding any type of, issue with editing and so forth from a legal perspective. Is that advisable?
Mayor, I believe that the borough has a policy with regard to this, and my recommendation is that if the council would so desire to allow the gentleman to speak with the alternative that you said, and they'd like to approve that, then that is certainly an avenue they can take. Otherwise, my advice would be is to stick to the policy of the borough council. Thank you.
Right. Thank you for that opinion. So at this point, I would have to leave it then into the hands of the council.
Okay, and it's my position that I'm going to choose not to give my name and address, and I would like to continue to speak.
I have to ask that the council approve that then.
Mayor,
It's all yours.
if we're going to change the rules, and it has to change for everybody, nobody has to give their name and address anymore.
I'll ask the council again. Do we wish for this gentleman to speak? In the event that he put his comments in writing and asked that they be read at the council meeting, would that have to be identified as who's speaking? I think we had that, especially during COVID. If he was to have written a letter or an email and asked that to be read into the minutes, I think that we have to allow that, correct?
Yeah, Mayor, I believe that's my understanding. I don't have what the COVID policies were in front of me right now, but that, to my best recollection, I think that would be sufficient.
And then let me also ask that even now without COVID, I do believe that if somebody was to write a letter of correspondence and ask for that to be read into the minutes, is that something that we would legally be obliged to do, regardless of whether or not it was identified with address and so forth? Or
Mayor, I don't feel comfortable rendering opinion on that particular subject as we sit here on the dais. I would like to reserve some time to perhaps look into it a little deeper, and before I do actually provide that legal advice. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I mean, ultimately, Madam Mayor, it seems as though if the gentleman wants to make a comment, to elected officials, he can do that on his own time. But if he wants to make comments within the capacity of an official meeting, he has to do it in the official way.
I do agree. I do believe that is accurate, Christian. I believe that what Christian is saying. You can make comment to any one of us, but when the public portion is in place, I think we are actually legally bound to follow the rules and the procedures that we have in place. I'm very sorry, sir.
Robert's rules.
Yeah, well, it's beyond Robert's rules. Robert's rules are specific to certain things, and then we also have adopted policy regarding how we locally run these meetings.
Absolutely. That's why if it's your policy that you're sticking to and you're going to bar me from speaking, I will respectfully sit down.
I think we can't make the policy change now, but it is something that we can consider because it does take the council has to speak on it and it has to be advertised
Definitely.
and has to be. But I do want you to have the opportunity to speak.
So what are we doing here?
Mayor, I think you offered the two options is that at this point, the council could take a vote to decide to let this gentleman speak under the condition that he provide the written, I believe it was the written response at that point.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay, thank you. And then alternatively is that the policy of the council is that in order to speak at public comment, you have to provide your name and your residence. So at that point, it's really in the purview of the council if they want to let this gentleman speak or not.
No, I would go, I would ask though, when it comes to the address that it could be, as you had stated, Counselor, either resident of New Jersey or so forth. So,
Yes,
but
Mayor, that's my understanding that is sufficient.
I could also
Yeah,
be homeless and that would be sufficient too.
Right, that's the address as the marker isn't the issue. I just need at least a name, that's all.
Out of concerns for my safety, I'm not willing to do that.
Right. So that's where we're at. So since he's not willing, then his other options are to make comments in an unofficial capacity. Thank you.
Point of procedure.
Okay, point of procedure.
Council, at this point, we've kind of hit a roadblock here in the meeting. There are other individuals who want to proceed with public comment. If the gentleman wants to yield his time to allow the rest of the public a chance to speak, and then we could perhaps revisit, and or the council is going to have to make a call as to whether or not they want to let the gentleman speak under the circumstance we provided. He's already indicated for the record that he will not provide any written response as far as his name and or address, which has been noted. However, it has also been noted that it is the council's procedure that you have to provide your name and state where you are living or state where you're residing before you can do public comment.
Well, due to reasons to not hold this meeting up, I think you guys should make that decision right now.
Okay, so
we don't hold anyone else up.
So at this point, what we would be looking for then is if the council, is anybody from the council willing to ignore those rules and procedures? And Counselor, is this something that you said we would need to have a vote for?
Mayor, we're endeavoring to pull up the policies right now, just so we have a better look at it. My suggestion is that we proceed with public comment, and then perhaps these gentlemen can reconvene after the other individuals had a chance to speak, and we have more of a chance to look at it. This is something that was sprung upon us. We obviously were not anticipating this.
Well, you can just allow me to speak. I'm not going to hang around all night. I do need to go home and eat dinner and stuff. So,
sir, what I will ask is if you just give our clerk an opportunity to review and then also pass that on to our attorney for just a couple of moments. I would ask if you would just sit right there on that front pew in the meantime. So that way they can take a look at it, peruse it. I don't think it would be very long.
I have to leave in 5 minutes. I have somewhere I have to be.
Okay. I don't know if we're going to have that answer though for you in 5 minutes. Jess is good, but sometimes it might take a little bit.
I may make a motion, we adjourn for 5 minutes till Jess can look this up.
Okay. Is there a second on that motion for adjournment?
I second that.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Oops.
Nicole, will you?
Just
One second, Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Nicole.
Councilwoman Novak,
Yes.
Balka,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Anoha,
No.
Roberts. Yes. Zabrowski.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll just adjourn for a few moments until we can hopefully get that policy back up.
That's a new one. Very strange.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Counselor?
Thank you, Mayor. So I do appreciate you giving us some extra time to look into our code. It does turn out that in our code, we do not have right now codified that an individual has to provide their name. So that has been the past practice of the borough for many years. I know obviously it's our first year, but it's my understanding it's been practice for many, many years. So my recommendation is tonight is that this gentleman is allowed to speak for his 5 minutes. And then from there, our suggestion is that you can essentially go back and modify the ordinance to add any of that additional requirements for public comment.
Thank you.
Okay, so sir, thank you for your patience, and your 5 minutes begins now. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your patience. I also appreciate the fact that you had us look into our policy, and we're doing the right thing, and we'll see what the council does moving forward.